Good Thursday morning. So today is Thursday and we are on Psalm 34. So Psalm 34 is called The Lord Delivers the Righteous. So let's hop right into it. Verse 1. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise will always be on my lips. I will boast in the Lord. The humble will hear and be glad. Proclaim the Lord's greatness with me. Let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he answered me, and rescued me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant with joy. Their faces will never be ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him, and saved him from all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and rescues them. Taste and see that the Lord is good. How happy is the person who takes refuge in him. You are his holy ones, fears the Lord. For those who fear him lack nothing. Young lions lack food and go hungry, but those who seek the Lord will not lack any good thing. Come, children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Who is someone who desires life, loving a long life to enjoy what is good? Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from deceitful speech. Turn away from evil and do what is good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry for help. The face of the Lord is set against those who do what is evil, to remove all memory of them from the earth. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears, and rescues them all from their troubles. The Lord is near the brokenhearted. He saves those crushed in spirit. One who is righteous has many adversaries, but the Lord rescues him from them all. He protects all his bones. Not one of them is broken. Evil brings death to the wicked, and those who hate the righteous will be punished. The Lord redeems the life of his servants, and all who take refuge in him will not be punished. Now, there's a couple cool things in this thing that I really want to go out. So verse 4 says, I sought the Lord, and he answered me and rescued me from all my fears. Now, I gave you a really big testimony last week, or not last week. I gave you a testimony yesterday on just kind of all the things that God has delivered me from. Now, here's the thing. If you remember what we talked about last week, there's an identity of love. If you go to 2 Corinthians, there's something called the new man and there's something called the old man. And so the old man represents you living a self-centered life where you're in control of what you want to do. The new man is representative of a life where you're completely God dependent and you're more focused on what God has for your life rather than focusing on what you want for your life. The old man, a really big indicator of being before I go into that, there's the old man and a new man. You can either put on the old man or you can put on the new man. If you put on the new man, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to be in the new man, because you can take off the new man and go back to the old man and put it on. Because what that looks like is one moment you can be, God, I love you. God, I want you in all my life. I give everything to you. But in the very next moment, there's I want what I want and I want it now, irregardless of anything. You can kind of go between both identities in just like the flick of a finger. Now, one thing over here it says is that he rescued me from all my fears. Now, fear is a really big sign that you're in the old man, because part of the old man is self-dependence. The old man says, here are all of my plans for everything that could happen. And because I have a plan for everything, I'm able to have peace. I'm able to feel security. I'm able to feel like I'm not able to be moved from this spot. But like I said yesterday, if there's something that's going to go wrong, everything is probably going to go wrong. And all of these things that you really thought you were prepared for just kind of fall apart just like that. And it's very easy to just have all your self-reliance get thrown down the drain and realize that you're at the mercy of the circumstances that are coming against you. And thus, because of that, it's really easy to just go into fear of, oh man, like I didn't prepare for this. What am I supposed to do? Like I don't see a way out. As far as the new man, because the new man is God dependent, the new man can have all these circumstances come against you, but have reassurance and peace despite the lack of security, because your security is in God, who is the source of salvation, as we've covered in a lot of the previous Psalms. And now, this word right here says, I sought the Lord. Now, sought. If you really just kind of think of it, so like, the Old Testament was originally written in Hebrew. And so it's like, what do you call it? The transition from Hebrew to English is not always like 100% clean. And so that word sought, what it means is like to continuously seek. Continuously or repeatedly seek. It's not like a one-time thing. And now, when you look at that, it's like, okay, I continuously looked for the Lord, and then he answered me. And now, if you remember anything from Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, prayer is a really strong tool for getting in strong intimacy with the Lord. So when we're talking about seeking the Lord, it's gonna involve prayer one way or another. And like I said, prayer is not a one-time thing where you just do it and then you get what you want and you forget about it till things get hard again. Prayer has to be a daily thing, a continuous daily thing that you're constantly keeping track of. That's what it means when it says, I sought the Lord. It means I continuously looked for the Lord. I continuously kept track of everything. And then he answered me and rescued me from all my fears. And now the thing is that this rescuing you of your fears, I want you to really think about this. All the times you've been afraid of something, how many times was your fear blown out of proportion? How many times was your fear actually legit? How many times did you fear for a lack of money and you actually lacked money? You might have had a tight budget, I'm not saying that. But how many times did you actually go without food? Did you actually go without housing? Did you actually go without clothes on your back? A lot of the times, fear is just something blown out of proportion. And the thing is that one of the Psalms back over here, it says, even if there's 1,000 people who are coming against me, I will trust in you, Lord. One thing that if you look at the life of David is that he went through a lot. It says that there's a point in David's life right before he became king. There were a lot of people who were devoted to David before he was king. They were called David's mighty men. And David took these men and they went out and they did a lot of cool things. Well, one time while they're out, their homeland gets raided and ransacked. And by the time David and his men get back, all of their families, all of their wives have been kidnapped and taken captive and led away. And all of these men are looking at David and saying, because you led us away, all of our families have been taken from us. And so what happens is that David is bawling his eyes out. Not just David, but David and all the people are bawling their eyes out. And when they finally can't cry anymore, all the men that were with David, that's when they finally look at David and say, because of you, our families have been taken away. And because of you, all of this bad stuff is going on. So we're going to kill you, is what they do. And David is, first of all, he's at a low point. And now all of the people he was trusting all want to kill him now. But it says, David strengthened himself in the Lord. And he puts on an ephod, which is something only priests wear. That's a whole different Bible study. And it says, David prays to the Lord, should I go after these people? And God says, go after them and you will overtake them and you will be able to take all your families back. And so that's what I mean by prayer delivers you from your fears. It's one thing to say, I don't really know if God is backing me on this, but prayer brings you to a place of intimacy to where you know that the decision that is weighing your mind, that that decision, if it's backed by God, you know that you have a guarantee of this decision succeeding. So like for me, I need rent and I'm praying to God. And once I get to a place of where I realize, okay, I really am where I know where God wants me to be, I can now have an expectation of this prayer is going to be answered. Because I had prayed so much about the wedding and I knew that it was a decision supported by God and endorsed by God, when bad things came up, I knew that God was going to be faithful to deliver these things. And now, the ability to resist fear is directly proportional to your ability to stay in the new man. And being able to stay in the new man means that you're in a position to overcome all these difficult circumstances. If you're in the old man, you're not going to be able to resist all these difficult circumstances because you're looking at everything through a lens of fear. And you're kind of just shooting yourself in the leg and not really giving yourself a fair shot at overcoming these things. So realize that fear is a really big thing. And that prayer is a really big thing to oppose this fear. And once again, when God puts a burden on your heart to pray something, it's usually because there's something coming down the pipe. And God wants to prep you for this thing that's coming down the pipe before it actually happens. Okay, so with all that said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.